metric system and the measurements of the metric system. And the main, and you can write this, you'll still write on this piece of paper what I write down. The main measurement in the metric system is 1 meter. And that's what this thing is. People call it a yardstick. But actually, this is a meter stick. Is a meter bigger or smaller than a yard? Oh, Joseph takes a 50-50 chance and he says smaller. Unfortunately, he is incorrect. Right here, this is 36 inches. From here to here is 36 inches. That would be a yard. A meter's about 2 or 3 inches bigger than that, so a meter's a little bigger. And the beauty of the metric system, again, people, is that it deals in tens. In other words, this measurement right here, your paper is actually, I believe, for real. We'll check it with Grace's here. Look at that. If you take a meter stick and cut it into 10 equal pieces, you get this right here, which is a decimeter. Now rarely do you hear about a decimeter. It's not one of the more used metric system measurements, and I don't know why. I guess people just don't like it. But if you take a decimeter, and I did it here, and this is actually cut it into 10 equal pieces, that gives you your centimeter. By the way, again, one of the beautiful things of the metric system is you've got the word meter here. What do you think deci means? As in, well, when you talk about decade, or decathlon, or whatever there, John? 10. Yeah, actually deci means 1/10. Okay, so a decimeter is 1/10 of a meter. Guess what centi means? As in century, or centurion, or centigrade, or whatever back. 100. Yeah, 1/100th of it. And there's 100 centimeters. If you look on here, see all these lines. This actually goes from 0 to 100. Where was Caleb? Does anybody remember what Caleb said?
No.
It was somewhere in the back. I think it was back here where you guys were all spreading together here. Wait, I've got it right here.
I'm ready to move over to 7.
Caleb, yeah, is on that Frederick And Shannon, you are... Where's she at? Next morning? Anyways, there's your centimeter. There are 10 centimeters in a decimeter, and then there's 10 decimeters in a meter, and there's 100 centimeters. 100, well, I put it right here. I'm sorry. 100, I guess I should write, equals 1 meter. And then we got this little guy here. It's a millimeter. And here's where people get a little confused because we have millions in our thing here. Milli, the prefix milli, as in a millennium, means what? A millennium is, Grace? Yeah. Milli actually means 1,000, or 1,000th in this case. There are 1,000 of those little millimeters. 1,000 millimeters equals 1 meter. Okay? 1,000 of those. And that, the nice thing about that is that the metric system and decimals work nicely together. There's more band people coming in. How about Connor? Where's he? Right here, Connor. We got a spot for everybody here. So if you look at this, the book asks a question. If somebody is 1 meter plus 43 centimeters tall, if you are 1 meter plus 43 centimeters tall, how would you show that as a decimal? Okay, remembering that in decimals, the first place after a decimal is the tenths place, and the second place after the decimal is the hundredths place. Okay, you know that a centimeter is what part of a meter? How many centimeters are there? 100 in a meter, right? Just like here, this is a good way to think about it too. Just like there are 100 cents in a dollar, so there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So this is really asking the same question. If you had $1 plus 43 cents, cent, by the way, 100, okay, if you were writing that in decimal form, how do you write $1.43? It's the same thing you'd write 1 meter plus 43 centimeters. How do you write that out with decimals? What's $1.43 as decimals? Have we dealt with money before? How do you write $1.43 in decimal form? Riley?
1 and a 43.
With what between them? Yeah. And that's the same thing this would be. 1.43. 1 meter. 43, this is 43 hundredths, just like it's 43 cents. 1 millimeter. And you can think of decimeters are like dimes. There's 10 of them that make up 10 decimeters that make up a meter. So, I mean, this is just like money. A millimeter, 1 mm, that's like 1 penny. Okay, so if I asked you to write 1 millimeter as a meter, that would be the same thing as me asking you to write 1 cent in dollar form. How do you write 1 cent in dollar form? Caleb?
$0.01.
Yeah, $.01. That's 1 cent, is it not money? So guess what 1 centimeter would be? What would 1 centimeter be written as meters? Same exact thing. It is 0.01 of a meter. And that's what makes the metric system nice. If you're changing inches to yards, how many inches are in a yard? I showed you. It's like 36. Yeah. So if I had 100 inches and I wanted to know how many yards that was, what would you do? So you're a little confused because you'd have to do a whole lot of division of 36s and 1s and all that other stuff, and it doesn't really work very well. The metric system is your friend because it's all in tens and hundreds, and you could use decimals all the time. If you were, what if I said write 1 meter plus 2 decimeters as a meter? How would you do 2 decimeters? And that would be the same as writing $1 plus 2 dimes. Because a decimeter is 1/10, just like a dime is 1/10 of a dollar, and they're both split into those things. Well, how would you write 1 meter plus 2 decimeters as a decimal? Jacob Homerding says.
1.20.
Yeah, 1.20. We probably would leave that 0 off. Just because 1.2. And money, we always put it in there because we always write cents in it. But if you're writing other things, you don't need that extra thing. But it'd be the same thing. 1.20 is the same as 1.2. So, I don't know if that got you anywhere or whatever. Just thinking about it, which one of these, well, let's get this out of your mind because in reality, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about something being in decimeters. Just know that it's there. When they give people's heights in other countries besides probably Britain and the United States where we use feet and inches, do you know how they give heights? Like in Europe, what is their unit of measurement? Anybody? They don't use feet and inches, I can tell you that. Just like they don't say pounds for weight either. They use kilograms. I give you a hint, it's one of the ones we talked about today. If you were given how tall you were, if you were talking to your long-lost relatives over there in Switzerland, and you told them you were, 4 feet 9 inches tall, they would have no idea what that is, because they would measure theirs in, Madison Sittler, Nope, they don't use, people don't use decimeters, I told you, scratch that one off, just because it's rarely used. They would probably know more about decimeters than we do, but they don't give their heights in decimeters. Matthew?
Meter?
It is not in meters because how many people are even gonna be 2 meters tall? 2 meters would be the equivalent of 6'6". Gianna?
10 million?
Not in millimeters, boy, we're narrowing it down. Millimeters, you'd be like 4,000. No, wait, 3,000. We should actually write this down here. Let's say you're 5 feet tall. How would they say 5 feet somewhere else? Zach Roth, it is in centimeters. And let's see if we can figure out what 5 feet would be in centimeters. Well, 3 feet is about 91 centimeters. And 2 feet, let's add another 2 more under that. 2 feet is about 61. So if we put those together, 2 feet plus 3 feet is 5 feet, somewhere around 152 centimeters. And that's how they would say it. So if you're a big 6 foot tall person, you'd be in the 180 range, 180 centimeters. If you were 7 feet tall, which not too many people make it to, what would you be? Every foot is about 30 centimeters, so you'd be 210 centimeters. That's what they would be using that for. How about this? Here's the question of the day, Lauren Ulrich. If I did ask you to make this into meters, see I have this written in centimeters, what if I asked you to change this to meters? Now, before you get confused on it, let me tell you, it's the same thing as talking about dimes to dollars. Or this is actually cents, 152. 152, if you were writing that in the metric system, if I gave you 152 cents, and I told you to change it to dollars, it's the same thing. How would I write this as meters? It would be correct. This would be 1.52 meters. It's the same thing because there are 100 centimeters in a meter, just like there's 100 cents in a dollar. What would this one be in meters? Autumn?
1.80.
1.80 or 1.8. You don't necessarily. And 210 would be, Joseph?
2.1.
2.1. See, and that's the nice thing about metric system. You don't really have to do any math. The metric system, all you really do is move decimals around, because that's what changing things by tenths and whatever are. So